So this concept of value is really central to whatever we do when we're talking about making investment. It's not only making investments in IT, or making any type of business. What is it for? What is the value that we're looking for? We were looking at this concept of value. And first of all, you have to define what value is. And surprisingly, it was not as easy as we thought. But we came to this definition of value, that it is the agreed upon benefit that is derived from applying IT to support the delivery and outcomes that customers want. We put their customers, citizens, and so on. We use the term customers to represent all those groups. And that's what they want, that's what they're willing to pay for and fund. It's really important to understand that if someone wants something, they're willing to pay for it or to fund it if it's not something, a product or something like that. And so we have to understand that's what value is. The value we're talking about here is business value. And value must be thought of in terms that the customer understands. It is really important. Sometimes we conceptualize value as what we understand it to be, and then we want the customer to accept our conceptualization of value. Now, when we think of value, of course, this is a very contested idea, because value to you is not the same as value to the next person. And that's why we have said that it has to be the agreed upon. There comes a point in time when you have to come together and say, this is what we understand it to be at this point in time. Now, and you notice I said at this point in time, because sometimes the value that you strategize about is not the value that you actually achieve. We have something we call realized value. You know, there's a planned value and then there's the one that actually happens. And I'm sure many of you, even today as you've come here, you've been involved in projects where you had an idea where you wanted to go, you know what the value was going to be, but when you got there, it was much more rocky. And it wasn't a straight line to that value. And a lot of diversions and so on to get you to where you want to be. And sometimes what you get is either a little lower than what you planned for, or sometimes it's a little better than you planned for. And realized value, I think, is really important to understand, because you want to know, why did you get more than you bargained for? Or why did you get a little bit less than your? Because that's actually probably the real value, rather than the one that you actually conceptualize. And so it's really important for us. The other thing we want to say about value is that it must be measured. It must be measurable and measured. And some will say, well, not everything can be measured. We argue that you can measure most things. Now, they're not always numeric, or in terms of profitability or so on. It could be that, you know, we clean the roads in winter. And how much roads did you clean in the winter, right? It could be how fast you got someone to the hospital, something. It could be how many people were served a meal. There must be a way of measuring that value, and also to measure it. One of the things we find in IT is that after you're exhausted, after implementing your project, very few people really measure what they've actually done.